Hello everyone, welcome back. We've discussed before on this channel the risks of practicing and studying scales beyond the point of memorization. Of course, it's essential that you learn the scales and you understand them, but eventually you want to break away from the mechanical practice and move into the more musical and creative playing. Basically, use what you learned. And a lot of people struggle with that. And the reason is that because we spend so much time going up and down the scales in the way that is perfect for learning them, which is always the correct fingering, always alternating with the pick, make it constant, make it repeatable. Eventually that seeps into our usual playing, and therefore we start playing like we practice. And nobody wants to hear that, right? Nobody wants to hear a solo that just goes up and down a scale. So today we'll teach you a simple exercise that will work great for beginners, but also for advanced players, and it will help you move away and break away from the mechanical playing, and it will make your playing much more fluid, much more fluent, and I think a lot more musical. As a fan of Bruce Lee, I would say,
be water, my friend.
To make sure we're all on the same page, let me show you a pattern we're going to use for the video, but of course you can apply this to any scale, to any kind of system, cage, 3 notes per string, whatever it is you use. But this is a very simple C minor position, and that's the one we're going to use for the video, and it goes like this. Practicing like this is of course very useful. It will help me memorize the scale if I always stick to the same fingering, improve my picking. It will also work wonders as far as developing consistency and developing coordination, so there's nothing wrong with it. But now I want to be a bit more musical, and if I spend hours and hours practicing like this, when it comes time to improvise, I might do something like this. Which is not wrong or anything, but it's just very uninspired. It's something that basically we all would do if we just learn the scale. So what I would suggest you do today might seem a bit strange, but it's just pick one of your 4 fingers. Let's keep things simple for today. Let's go with the first finger. And I would like you to improvise, but only using that one finger. And before we discuss it, I'll just do it for a few seconds for you, and you'll see what I mean. Or whatever. So if you try that, you'll notice 2 things. First of all is that by simply using one finger, you will magically forget the whole scale, because you're so used to interfacing with the scale with this pattern of fingers, of picking and all that, that you'll simply forget the whole thing. And so that's a sign that memorization is one thing and usage is another. When you practice a scale going up and down, it's basically like a path. You need the previous step to be able to walk onto the next one. Whereas what we're trying to do now is to actually see the whole thing at once. It's basically as if you were a bird flying over the path. You'd be able to land on any of the steps you would want. That's my analogy, at least. It's not probably a brilliant one, but that's the idea. And the other thing you'll notice is that you'll have a hard time being musical, because right now you're so used to tying together the mechanical aspect and the musical aspect, whereas the mechanical aspect should be only at the service of the musical and not tied to it. And therefore it's such a great exercise. If you have a hard time with it, don't be ashamed or worry about reducing it maybe to only 3 strings. So maybe you can pick 1st, 2nd and 3rd string. And just play over those. There's no rules, there's no stress. As you get comfortable with this concept, you'll be able to expand on it in many ways. For example, you might try to tie together 2 positions, like this. Right? And instead of moving from one to the other, just kind of blend them together. If you're not quite ready for that, just go over all the fingers in your left hand. So maybe try with the ring finger. Right? And then the little finger. It's amazing how different they feel and how different you play just because you're using a different finger. And that doesn't really make any sense because the music should come from here. And so there's many ways you'll discover as you journey through this. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and more importantly, that you learned something new today. If you did, maybe give it a like and subscribe. It really helps me reach more people. If you'd like to join my Patreon, you're all welcome. There's a link down below. And if you'd like to help me make more of these videos and support the channel, there's also a bunch of other links you can check out. No matter what you do though, thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I'll see you next week.